Hello, hello, hello. How are we doing? I hope
I'm doing
everybody is
good.
having a great day. Caroline is doing great. We just had a pre-game conversation that has left us in like the highs of emotional.
Babe, I promise I will behave.
It's all good. It's all good because all of this energy comes straight to you who is listening. And I hope you feel it as we have this conversation today, talking about tackling overwhelm and procrastination in your
Hmm.
business, in your career, in whatever it is that you're trying to create. And listen, I know that Caroline has a lot to say on this topic. And I know that this is something that, dare I say it? Yes, I'm going to say it. It's often an excuse for people, right? People will come to you and say, I feel I'm overwhelmed. And it's almost like, dare I say it, they use overwhelm almost like somebody would say, I don't have the money, I'm poor. Because there's nothing you can say to that, right? There's nothing you can say back to somebody. If somebody's trying to, I don't know, join your program or be coached by you, and their response to not signing up is, I'm too poor, I don't have the money. There's nothing you can say to that, right? It's like this barrier that they've put up. And I feel like I'm overwhelmed acts in that same way. Because if you're a compassionate, decent human being, if someone tells you that they're overwhelmed, you're not going to say, well, I disagree. You need to do A, B, C, X, Y, and Z thing. You're not going to do that, right? So because that's how it shows up, we use it as a way to block our action taking, because we know that whatever it is that we need to do, we just need to do it. And
Just
so
do
by
it.
holding on to that argument of I feel overwhelmed gives us an out and a viable excuse to not do it. What are your thoughts about that, Caroline?
It's I feel like I have a lot to say because yes, I used to be someone that would use that word and be like, oh, it's not even that I used to use the word I'm overwhelmed. I think I would just feel like I had so much going on in my head that then I would keep thinking, keep thinking, keep thinking, keep adding, keep adding, keep adding, and then it just leads to inaction, and then I won't getting anything done. So it's the same thing as when people say they feel overwhelmed because they're taking on so many tasks and they just don't know how to iron out the creases. Literally, that is how it is. Like crunch together a sheet, and that's how your mind is inside. You're trying to push everything in and get things done. Then you lead to inaction. You're not getting anything done. Then you're saying you're overwhelmed because you're like, oh, yeah, that's it. I don't know where to start. I've just added like another 10 things to the list I had of 20. Now I'm not going to do anything. And the reason why it might come across as me and Sabrina, well, even me coming across hard is because I got to tell myself, excuse me, Caroline, what part are you overwhelmed? Break that down for me. Where are you overwhelmed? Because you're adding job tasks that you wanted, bear in mind, to your list. So if you
Mm.
are overwhelmed, you got to find a way. And I find that, especially at work, when I'm overwhelmed, right, it always seems to be the tasks that I put off because I don't want to do it because I find them hard. And all I've learned is it feels so much better. And I don't know if this is even a word, but I'm going to make it a word. Overwhelming if you just get it done as soon as you need to get it done.
We tackle the overwhelm by making up words in the English language. I love it. I've got two things that I want to say about that, Caroline. Two things. One is something that you mentioned where you said, often I feel overwhelmed because I'm adding on things that I said I wanted to do. And I heard someone reframe overwhelm like this. And I've coached my clients on this, I've coached teammates that I've had in the past on this. And this is what I tell them: overwhelm is an abundance of what you asked for.
What? Yo,
Someone much smarter than me said that, by the way.
yo.
That's not my quote. But overwhelm is an abundance of what you once asked for. So that's a powerful way to reframe it. It's because if you think about it, when you're feeling overwhelmed, it's because maybe you were once, starting out your business and you're down the road a couple of months, a couple of years, and now you have all of these things to do, all these messages that are in your inbox,
Yep.
all these emails to reply to, all this content to create, and you're feeling overwhelmed. But wasn't that where you wanted your business to be once? Right? So it's reframing that. So that's the first piece. And then the second thing, because you were talking about how like the thinking and it spirals, all
Yeah.
of that. I want us to be very compassionate, or to just put this out there, and I'm not letting you off the hook. Before anyone thinks I'm about to let you off the hook, I'm not, and I'll
I was
explain
gonna
why in
say
a
because that ain't
second.
Sabrina. That ain't Sabrina
No,
style.
I don't do that. I don't let you off the hook for your dreams and your aspirations and your goals. You should be on the hook for those things, but that's a bye
Hmm.
bye. But what I was going to say is that we're very compassionate towards people that have issues like ADD, ADHD. Maybe you have, like, your mind is always scattered. Maybe you feel as if you've got some kind of focus issue, or you've got some kind of learning difficulty, or some
Yeah.
kind of neurodivergence or whatever. So, and it creates some of that scatteredness and not being able to focus. We're very compassionate towards that. And um, and I think that that's something that you need to look at and know about yourself in order to set up systems and ways of doing things for yourself that are compassionate towards that part of you. But there there's a fine line between creating excuses for your inaction and legitimately acknowledging that there's a part of you that makes things a little bit more difficult, but being committed to working through that and changing that, right? And I say this because I was listening to a podcast episode that Stephen Bartlett, Diary of CEO,
Hmm.
incredible, he had with Trevor Noah, and this was back in October. Both of these men recently, within the last 4 years or so, have been diagnosed with ADHD. Both of these men. Trevor Noah, one of the most successful comedians, not daytime, like talk show hosts, came from South Africa from nothing to one of the top, you know, political minds, I would say, in America. And then Stephen Bartlett, who created what is arguably the most successful podcast show
Uh-huh.
in history, right? In just the last, he started it in 2017, 2018, in just the last like 6 years, right? So these are two men that are at the heights of their career that have done incredible things, that have only recently acknowledged the fact that they were working against a part of themselves that made taking action and being successful incredibly challenging. But they did it anyway, right?
And they've only just found out, you're saying, right?
Like within the last 3 or 4 years. I think Trevor Noah found out in the last 4 years. Stephen Bartlett
Yeah.
said he only found out in the last 2 years that he has ADHD. And I'm somebody who walks with depression. I have anxiety, and I still show up and do the thing. So I want to be very not cautious, because I think people need to hear this, that yes, all of us have challenges in being able to show up powerfully for the dreams that we have, for the goals that we have, for the aspirations that we have. But making those challenges your upper limit is a choice that you're making. And if you want a different future for yourself, you have to show self-compassion, acknowledge that this may be harder for you than it may be for others, but create a way of moving forward and doing things that honors that challenge, but doesn't make it your crutch. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. And then, like, because the first thing that, no, it's so funny. The way I used to be so overwhelmed in my thoughts, not get anything done, and then it would just pile on top of me, right? Even like today, like, yo, we're talking about today. You're not going to think, Caroline, you was overwhelmed today. I was overwhelmed today. Let me tell you a lot about my day first, right? So I already knew I had a 2 hour. Oh, Sabrina's already laughing. I already knew I
I'm
had a
ready.
two hour mentee call, right? And that was already that was scheduled from Sunday. Then I knew we was going to do the podcast on Sunday today at 6 p.m. Right? So I technically have a 10 a.m. till 5:30 p.m. window to do anything I need to do with my day to day. Then I already had scheduled a business lunch meet at 11 a.m. So I was like, okay, as soon as I finish at 10, I need to get my ass down to London Bridge, right, for breakfast. Then I was meant to go to my mum's as well to pick up some deliveries. Then I had a call scheduled for 5:30 as well, and a call scheduled for 7. I need to get food and meal prep done and get my nails done. Can you imagine me this morning when I was asked this day about? Do you know something we've forgotten in 2025? Pen and paper. This pen and paper and writing a list people forget about these things. People forget about basic things, Sabrina, right? And I remember, listen, I see you with your tablet and when you do your notes and everything like that, right? And I was like, that is cool. I want that. I want to look high tech. Caroline ain't there yet. Not there yet. That was even more stressful for me. And I was like, why are you trying to complicate it for yourself, Caroline? Get yourself a pen and paper. And I'm telling you, do you know how therapeutic it is when you tick off that one thing that you've done? And then it makes you want to then carry on and tick off the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So all Caroline did today was made a list in the morning. And she's just been ticking it off where she's gonna go when she's done it all. And also just had all the time slots there. So I knew what I was keep when I was doing everything and keeping track. That was how Caroline did the day today. Some of it didn't go to plan, but that's life as well, you know? But
That's
it was the
so
things that I
good.
didn't need to, that I didn't, for example, going to see mum, I knew I could do that another day, so I could take that
Mm,
off my list. It's also that learning how to prioritize what is important right now and what
mm,
you can leave for maybe a next couple of days, you know?
mm.
Sorry, Sabrina, go on.
No, no, no. I think everything that you shared is just so, it's like the common sense things. But like Brendan Bashard always says, common sense is not always common practice,
No,
right?
yeah,
We know that writing a to-do list can help clear the clutter from your mind and get it out so that you've got it to look at and you can go for it. But
yep.
we don't do those things. That's honestly one of the best ways, I think, and I think Caroline just demonstrated that of how to break the I'll do it later cycle, right? And breaking the I'll do it later cycle is just piling more things to be overwhelmed about later.
Right?
So it's you need to find a way to break that cycle, and doing so with compassion, like Caroline just mentioned, taking things off the list that are not actually a priority today, but doing it with structure,
And Netflix and chill.
creating. Yeah, exactly. Netflix and chill is not a priority today, right? And doing it with structure so that you're creating a system for yourself. Because here's the thing, when you've got that, you take it out of your mind and that overwhelm pattern happens in here, especially for high achieving women, I think, because we've got the mental load of life in general that
Mm-hmm.
women carry. Men don't seem to carry as much of the life mental load as women do, right? So we've already got that mental load, and then we're high achieving women, so we've got this personal expectation of
Mm.
what it is that we need to get done, how it is that we need to succeed, what needs to happen today. And so it shows up, like that overwhelm shows up in that like noise and chatter in your mind. And to clear that and to calm that, the best way to do that is to get the noise out of here onto a piece of paper, onto a tablet, onto wherever, where you can look at it and be like, okay, this is when I can do this. This time slot is when I can do that. That time slot is when I can do that. And when you
Oh,
create that, you're literally just you created a plan for yourself, and now you just execute the plan, as opposed to still being in your head trying to figure
mm-hmm.
out what the plan is.
Time slots. I literally did not want to have a diary that did not have an A4 page for every day and it had the hourly slots because that is what Caroline needs. Like just to
Same.
have it. And then when people are, Caroline, you're so organized, you're so this, you get things done. Da, 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 da. One, I know I work best in the morning. Two, I've got that time slot on my diary and I have everything there showing me where I can do it, where I can have the free time, where I can go and get the nails done so I can have the breather, you know, and even that, right? This was so I make sure I get my nails done once a month. So at least then I know I've got 1 hour when no one's talking to me. 2 hours if I'm getting hands and feet done. No one's talking to me. I'm either watching my phone or watching a series and I'm switched off because that helps when you're overwhelmed, right? Taking time out, like even if it's taking a couple of days out, going for that meditation, going for that workout, you need to have the time to switch off because honestly, that when you're overwhelmed and then you switch off and have that time to step back, wow, the way you're gonna launch yourself 4 steps forward.
Mm. And it even helps stop the overwhelm in the first place. When you know you've got like empty time, when you know you've got like clear, what do they call it? Like white space in your
Yeah.
diary. When you know you've got that, it stops you from feeling overwhelmed in the first place because you're being strategic about how you're what's the word? Kind of replenishing your energy. So we just gave you like handful of tools and systems that you can use to tackle overwhelm. Like, create a schedule for yourself. Make sure there's white space in your diary so that you've got time to switch off. Make sure that you're prioritizing the things that you need to do. Ensure you have a plan and
Mm.
execute the plan. Like, take the noise out of your brain, get it somewhere else so that you can look at it and then just execute on the things you need to do rather than continue that spiral of thinking. But Caroline, let me ask you this. Why do you think why do you think it is that a lot of women in our kind of realm in business,
Hmm.
in their career, why do you think we have this kind of we need to do it all kind of thinking? And if we don't do it all, and so we get in overwhelmed because we need to do it all. If I can't do it all, I'm not going to do anything. Why do you think that that exists?
Because I think we assume that's the way we're going to be successful, by doing everything all in one go. That's the only that's the only thing I can think of, because that's also what I had to tell myself that the other day. It's like, Caroline, you don't need to be glued to your phone all the time. You can leave it aside, go do what you're doing, and come back a couple hours later. You know, and I think it's that people, it's people wanting it now, 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 and it's you still need to have trust the journey and be patient. You know, and then even that, guys, work in retail. I don't stand in the shop for 8 hours a day and have customers for my whole 8 hours a day. You know, compare that to business. It's not meant to be you have someone there doing it all the time. So it's just, I think it's that. What do you think it is?
I think I agree with you 100% that we think we need to do it all and do it all now and do it all perfectly. Otherwise, what's
Yeah.
the point? Like, we have, there's some ingrained stories in there. But I also think that we're, we're, some people, I shouldn't say all, some people are very bad about setting priorities that serve their vision. We talked about vision last session, right? If your priorities aren't in the direction of making your vision your reality, what are they doing on your to-do list? If you've got a to-do list full of tasks that are not getting you closer to that dream life you want to live, what are you doing?
And then, because a couple of conversations I had, right, the last couple of, what's like the main, with your community, what's the main thing they procrastinate about and then stop doing the work for? What's the main thing? Because I have a main thing with my community.
Is doing the things, doing whatever is necessary to move them in the direction that they want to go in. And I work with people in lots of different kind of capacities. So there's not one like task or
Yeah.
thing that I can say, but it's do like that nobody is struggling with what to do. We know what to do, right? No, we're not struggling with that. We
We're
know you
not.
know what to do. If you're working with Caroline, Caroline tells you what you need to do every damn day. Caroline is there saying, this is what you need to do. Like, literally every day. If you're working with me, I give you guidance about what you need to do that will serve your vision and where it is that you want to go. So nobody is like questioning what to do. It's the actual doing of the things that people get stopped in. And I think there's an element of emotional regulation that plays a part in that. And I
So,
talk about this
yeah.
all the time, like, people won't do it unless they feel like it.
And this has got to stop. I literally just saw someone. They came back from their company, network marketing companies, great weekend of success, said it was so good, lit a fire up their ass. Asked me, have I seen them since the weekend on their social media? What was that about? They're like, you need to, yeah, so I'm just going to say it goes back to last week with the vision and the belief. You know, you have to have it there, otherwise you're not gonna, it ain't gonna work. There was
No.
something else I was going to say on the back of that. It's fine, you go. It's going to come back to me.
No, it's like it's so true. And when we say things like this, when we notice these kinds of behaviors, we're not saying it from a judgmental place, because we've both been there exactly where you are, where
Yeah.
we go to the thing
Yeah.
and we get a fire lit, and then we come back and then we're back in our day to day, and maybe we've got like an emotional or energetic hangover from whatever we've just been doing, so we don't feel like showing up today, so we don't. And then that rolls into 4 days, 5 days, 6 days of not doing anything because I needed to, down regulate my nervous system. And I really needed to just take a second and take a breather. That's great. Listen to your body, do those things. But you can't be in a cycle if truly creating the life that you want to live on your terms is a priority for you. You can't continue living the cycle of I'll do it when I feel like it. If you're a
Yeah.
parent, if you're a parent, do you always feel like doing what you need to do to keep your kids alive?
There's a mic drop there.
Probably not. Like, because you may have gone out with your girlfriends last night, you had a bit too much to drink. You get home, you wake up the next morning, everyone's jumping all over you, and you're like, oh, holy Jesus, how am I going to do this today? You may have, had a really bad fight with your other half. You wake up the next morning and you've got to go to work and be the leader in your environment, and you're in a really bad emotional state. And you're like, how am I going to do this today? But you do it, don't you?
Is
You look after
right.
your kids, you show up for your job. So why is it when you're in this space of wanting and needing to create something that's for you, for the quality of life that you want to live, you won't do it even if you don't feel like it? Like, I just don't get it, Caroline. I get
It's,
really I get really like passionate about this because it's like, you show up for them,
no,
why
and
will
it's,
you not show up for you?
I just had it. Oh, where did it just go from my
I
brain?
was talking too much.
No, 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 no. It's, oh my gosh, it's gone. It's gone. It's gonna come back to me. But what the one person I was talking with my mentee this morning, right? And her reason for not showing up is to do with fear of other people and how they're going to react to her. So, Sabrina, what piece of advice would you give? And mainly, especially, they were saying it was to do with negativity.
Mm,
And that's why they're having inaction at the minute.
mm.
So, what
It's
I
funny
would love
that
for you to share and say your
it's
piece
funny
there.
that it's funny that you say that, because I do think oftentimes procrastination, that feeling of overwhelm, come from fear. I
Hmm,
think
hmm.
some people think it comes from laziness, like I'm too lazy, or I'm not focused enough, or I just can't do it. Like, they internalize it as something fundamentally wrong with them, and that's why they can't show up. I don't think that's true. I think overwhelm and procrastination mainly come from fear. We're afraid of what people will think. We're afraid of being seen starting small. We're
Yeah,
afraid of people seeing us fail or struggle. We're afraid of what people might think. And so we give ourselves the out by procrastinating on the things we need to do, or by saying I feel so overwhelmed, because those negative feelings kind of coincide with that overwhelmed feeling. So the piece of advice that I would give, I think, is to really understand that your fear is part of your process. Fear is not something that we're not supposed to exist without. I don't think. I think fear actually needs to be something that we walk beside in
yeah.
this entrepreneurial journey, or in any part of your life where you're trying to change something and you're a little bit fearful of the process or how it might turn out. Fear is a necessary part of our lives. And so when you change your relationship with fear and understand that, one, very few of us actually have legitimate things to be fearful of. And if you have legitimate things to be fearful of, as in your safety, your security, do what you need to do to get help and get yourself out of that situation, right? So there's physical danger for some, do what you need to do. But a lot of the fears are psychological. And I was reading a study and they said something, it was like 92% of the things that we spend our emotional energy on, worrying about, being afraid of, never come to pass. Never.
Oh my God, she went in my soul.
92%.
I felt that right in my nose.
92% of the things that we spend our mental energy worrying about
You're so
never
right.
come to
Yeah.
pass.
It's so true. So, so true. Now, that popped into my head, right? Because when I put up a clip of the last podcast episode, one of the community from your community had commented, and then I replied. And what I had replied was something along the lines of, people keep attaching the the work to, they keep expecting success from everything they do. They need to take away the expectation of expecting it, because they need to learn just to graph without that, because that's what's going to happen in the beginning. You have to put the work in. It's like when you start a new job, you don't know what you're doing. That's why you're on 6 months probation. You need to learn, you need to be trained, you need to be taught. We don't know what you're doing. So why are you expecting to know? All right, I haven't been a sales assistant before, but I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna know what to do. Go on the shop floor and you're like, yo, how you doing? Oh, that's not how you talk. You don't know what you're doing. You have to, you know what I mean? Stop expecting and just put it into practice first, at least for 6 months. So you can see how it's going and how you, oh yeah, it's that. Just stop expecting something after everything you do. It does not work like that. Sabrina, I'm going to open up a shop at Battersea Power Station. I'm going to have 100 customers on day one. Really?
You have at least one.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? I'm gonna go expecting 100, and then I don't have 100 from what? Because I didn't do anything. I just opened up the shop and went and thought 100 people were gonna come. I didn't do nothing, so why am I gonna expect that? And then I'm gonna get upset because I expected it, but then I'm in my field, but I expect.
Mm.
This is what
It's so
happening as
true.
well.
I think there's two things that pop into my head from that, and I think one of them is it's understanding that yes, none of us like that beginner feeling. None of us like that. None of us
Yeah.
enjoy that. I don't like feeling like a beginner. I like to be in the flow of whatever it is that I'm doing. I remember when I first started teaching group exercise, I'd never taught to a group before. I came from being a personal trainer. I knew how to train somebody one on one, but teaching to a group and teaching rhythmically to the rhythm of the music, it was a whole new skill set that I'd never developed. And I kind of sucked in the beginning. I was kind of bad in the beginning, and I hated that feeling of um, not being, what's the word, proficient, not being skilled, not being good. I don't
Mm,
like that feeling of not being good at what I'm doing. But in order to become great, and I'm not bigging myself up, but I think that I became a great instructor. In
she
order
did.
to
She did.
become great,
Mm,
you have to be a beginner. You have to be, and you have to be okay with that. So there's that piece. And then understanding too that so much of the beginning stages of your business, actually all the way through your business, because as you scale, you become a beginner at a new level, right? All the way through. So at every stage of whatever it is that you're doing, let it be fun. Let it be an experiment. Let yourself play. Let yourself try and figure it out. Like, why does everything have to be such high stakes all the time? Yes, we want to be successful on day one. Yes, we may have income goals and we have urgency around that. That's great. But when you strip the what could be fun for you, like experimenting of how you like to show up on your social media, or experimenting of what kind of offers you want to be able to create for your communities, or experimenting what does my coaching style look like, or how do I want to, deliver on this particular thing, giving yourself the flexibility to just play around with it brings so much joy to the process. But when there's an expectation that it all has to be perfect from day one and getting the results from day one, you strip yourself of the joy of the process.
and please, the messy, scatty content, the more realist, rawest, relatable ever is going to be your best engaging content over a pretty picture. Your pretty pictures are only going to get the loads of likes because it's a pretty picture. That's it. When you go through my social media and you see all the posts that have a couple of likes, the ones that have got big likes, the likes I'm looking at are the ones that have got the couple of likes. The posts I'm looking at are the ones that have got the couple of likes, because those are the ones that have actually not just looked at the pretty picture, they've actually read the caption. And that's what, those are the people I am invested in and want to see. So those are the ones you've got to pay attention to, because that's doesn't matter about the pretty pictures, doesn't matter about the followers, doesn't matter about any of that. And even that, it's the people that aren't even engaging in your stuff because they send the message maybe a couple of months later, and then you're going to be like, oh my god, what? So yeah, yeah,
It's a whole reframe, isn't it? Like reframing being stuck in inaction, being stuck because you feel overwhelmed, being stuck because you consistently procrastinate, being able to reframe that into, I'm going to take one step of strategic action today. Strategic action, not just doing something to say, oh, I did it, but one thing. I may have on my list 27 things that I want to create, 27 things that I know I should do, but breaking that stuck cycle requires one thing. Go and do one thing today that will move you in the direction of where it is that you want to go. And then tomorrow, do one thing. The next day, do one thing. By the end of the week, you've taken 5, 6, 7 powerful actions that are breaking that cycle of, I'll do it
Yep.
later, or maybe when I feel like it. And you're so much further along than you would be if you continue to stay spiraling in that.
Don't know where that time
That's it.
went.
I don't know where that time. Oh my God. I literally just looked 31 minutes. Okay. Man, it just goes to show when we're like in, and that's one of the things that we were committed to doing for this season. Not saying that last season, we were still trying to figure things out last season, right? But this
Yeah.
season was really having like soul
Give you
filling
lot something.
conversation,
Yeah.
give you like not just strategy, not just mindset, but like true what is in our hearts and what's been in our experience to help you move forward. And because the fact that 30 minutes just completely flies by, I think we know that we're doing exactly that. So that makes me really happy that this time just goes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Any final thoughts,
Right.
Kaza?
Go do that one thing now.
Go
Go
do
do
that one
one
thing
thing
now.
now.
Yeah,
And we'll ask
agreed.
you on the next episode if you did it.
Yeah. Yeah. Or come slide
Even
into our
comment.
DMs and tell us.
Yeah.
Tell
Tell
us
us.
that you
Tag
did
us in
it.
the story. Comment on the once the podcast has been uploaded, comment and tell us if you've done the task. Let us know. And maybe we'll shout out a couple of comments on the next one. We'll see whatever you lot do, we'll see what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Right.
We love to celebrate your success and your action
Yeah.
taking. So we will definitely do that if we hear that you went and did your one thing today.
Yeah, man. Let
Alrighty.
us do some shout outs. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Bye, guys. Bye.